What's something that is romantic in movies but creepy in real life? Someone coming home and finding their entire apartment full of flowers when the sender obviously had no legal way to get in. Those elaborate plots that trick the other person into falling for you. Casually stalking who they're pursuing. Every male in the entire village always hitting on the one single blue female. Stopping someone's wedding and asking them to be with you. Really? You couldn't shoot your shot before the wedding? It's not a surprise event. You're really going to embarrass everyone involved and destroy their wedding day when you could have just showed up last Wednesday? Breaking into your crush's house and laying on their bed. Movies, ah, he misses her, that's sweet. Real life, you going to jail. Relentlessly pursuing an ex who clearly doesn't want you back. Sorry dude, leaving wine and roses in your ex-girlfriend's car while she's at work isn't cute, it's super creepy and stalkerish. Stopping weddings. When couples are fake dating and trying to convince their family, then the family forces them to kiss in front of everyone to prove their love. No family would ever do this in real life, it's fucking weird. Like please, make out in front of Nana and your Uncle Ken. Literally everything in the 50 Shades movies. An overdramatic proposal in front of a bunch of strangers. Extremely old vampires dating 16-year-olds. Sending an ogre and a donkey to rescue them from a castle so you can force them to marry you so you can become a king to make up for your small stature. Bumping into the same person over and over again. Not taking no for an answer. Therapists dating or having sex with their patients. Oh, but they have such a deep connection. No, that's a malpractice lawsuit in the making. Having scream fighting matches with your partner constantly because you're both so passionate, like in The Notebook, like, nah bro. You're just incompatible. That shit ain't cute. It's almost a better question to ask what isn't creepy. Stealing their baby brother and taking them to the castle at the center of the labyrinth to eventually turn them into a goblin. Chasing someone who already said no, multiple times. If someone is already in a relationship trying to break them up. Love at first sight, no, that's just lust and desire. Basically everything you see in rom-com/romance relationships. / not taking no for an answer. / turning up unexpectedly. / threatening to hurt yourself if they don't date you. / using big public displays of affection to show you're worthy of love, just public humiliation for the crush. The list is very, very long. When they fight too much and always shut each other up with a kiss. Noah and Allie had nothing in common, still that seemed romantic somehow. The Notebook. Hanging off a Ferris wheel, threatening suicide for a date. Serenading them at their doorstep, LMAO. In The Notebook, Ryan Gosling's character literally builds a house for his ex-girlfriend a decade after they split, who is now married to somebody else. Imagine if that was real life. Imagine your teenage boyfriend out of the blue just built a house and expected you to move in with him. Creepy AF. Not taking no for an answer. Showing up everywhere, stalking, keep pursuing someone after no, watching people sleep, looking at you twilight. Showing up at someone's wedding to take the bride for yourself. Pursuing someone who is already in a relationship. Romantically throwing rocks at someone's window to get their attention. Brew, you better be ready to pay for insurance, uneasy face. Breaking through airport security to profess your love. Have fun getting tossed and sent to prison, jackass. Turning up at your door with flowers. I once had a chap do this to me. I'd cancelled the first date as I got a creepy vibe from him. He stalked me online, found my address, drove 3 hours and turned up with a dozen red roses. Luckily I got a family member to answer the door and say I wasn't there, as he'd texted me half an hour before to ask whether I was home. I later let him know that this was not okay. The woman saying no, 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 NNYY, yes, yes, yes. You be going to jail, my friend. Maybe more disgusting than creepy, but having spontaneous sex than just putting their clothes back on and going about their day without even cleaning themselves up. Hugh Grant. Pick you up at 8. More specifically, they meet for the first time, have a connection, he suggests dinner, she's charmed, then he says pick you up at 8 and then they part ways. No phone number, no address, sometimes no agreement, but sure it's a date and they're at the restaurant next scene, so why not? Forced kisses to shut up. My guy, she's being emotional and trying to work through her feelings and all you do is claim her lips. No. Serenading someone in general without breaking eye contact. Yeah, the editing makes it look good and all, but in reality it's more of a mix of creepy, awkward, and altogether wishing the moment was over. Staring at you while you sleep. Looking at you, Edward Cullen, you creepy ass son of a bitch. When people talk like really close to each other's faces, like 2 inches apart. Trying to get your mum and dad to fall in love at the Enchantment Under the Sea dance, but your mother ends up with the hots for you, all while trying to generate 1.21 gigawatts while driving at 88 miles per hour. I don't like sand. It's all coarse and rough and irritating. And it gets everywhere. I needed this thread between the ages of 14 to 18. I tried so hard with best intentions and got nowhere. Then I stopped trying for a year and met the wife. Social interaction. Refusing to give up after you've been dumped. Telling someone you have feelings for them using handwritten signs and a cheap tape player outside their home just weeks after their wedding, at which you were the best man while her husband, who is your best friend, sits inside watching a fucking quiz show. Kissing someone who is asleep. Singing at someone. Recently watched Top Gun again and the scene in the bar is so disgusting. Then he follows her into the bathroom. Even when she is there with another man and had told him no. Pretty much every film where the lead guy follows around his love interest and badgers her into a date despite telling him no multiple times. Also the trope where 2 guys fight over a woman who gets absolutely no say in who she dates. Turning up on someone's doorstep when they haven't given you their address. Not sharing the door you're floating on in the middle of the freezing Atlantic Ocean after you survive the capsizing of the Titanic. Surprising your partner with massive financial decisions. If you don't mind, I'd like to weigh in before you buy me a car or even a fucking house. Literally every romantic movie trope is creepy and stalky and should never happen in real life. The man needs to get the girl and is the one chasing while the woman can't decide until the end of the movie. This conservative portrayal of love promotes stereotypes that limit people in real life. The way that love is portrayed in many classic movies, man finds woman attractive, woman says no, man says come on, woman says no, repeat. At some point he might even force himself on her, and while he forces his kiss on her she suddenly realizes that this is what she wants. What do these kinds of movies teach little boys about love? No actually doesn't mean no, she just doesn't know it yet. Also, has anyone been rewatching some of the old sitcoms from the 90s? I didn't really realize this as a kid, probably because many of the shows had very similar patterns and it was just the normal way of portrayal, but how creepy is it, that Steve Urkel constantly stalks and harasses Laura, then puts himself in some sort of victim role, because saying no to the guy who loves her so much is so mean, he then even guilts the whole family into allowing him to live in the house, and in the end Laura marries him? This is really just Stockholm Syndrome and not romantic. Never saying goodbye at the end of a phone call and just putting the phone down. Standing silently in a married woman's doorway while dropping oversized cue cards. Adam Sandler in Big Daddy. He gets dumped, so he decides to adopt a child and present the kid to his ex in the hopes that she will come back to him and raise the kid with him as one little happy family. Cut to her obviously saying no, because who would say yes to this? Then at the end of the movie, they had to have a scene where he, now successful and happily taken, runs into his ex working tables as a waitress. Just perpetuates the idea that a woman should stand by her man, wait for him to be the man he's meant to be, and if she doesn't, it'll be her loss in the end.